Don't you love how nice our set looks with all the holiday cheer? Have your buddy St. Nicholas take you on a ride across Delmarva.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Coming up on the final score, Woodbridge opens its season against McKean. How would the Blue Raiders look after nabbing 12 wins a year ago? Staying on the court, across town showdown between Sussex Tech and Sussex Academy. Who wins the Battle of Georgetown? And over in Berlin, we make our way over to the Athlete Academy and profile a rising star out of Worcester Prep. All that and more on the final score.
Score starts now.
Ho, ho, ho! Welcome to the final score on the Delmarva Sports Network. Your home for local teams with big dreams. I'm St. Nick, Ian Nicholas, whatever you want to call me. The holiday season didn't just give a nice little facelift to our Wawa studios. It also ushered in the start of high school hoops on the peninsula. So let's start things on the hardwood with our game of the night, where the Woodbridge boys squad was on the road playing McKean to open its season. These highlights brought to you by Stanley Steamer. We go to Wilmington, home of the Highlanders. The Blue Raiders trying to build off a 12-win season from a year ago. And one of their best football players, Malachi Hayes, with a contested 2 to get the scoring started for the roadside. And how about Hayes one more time from the opposite part of the baseline? He just loves that mid-range game. Throwback player. Woodbridge proved that they could pass the ball up the court. The Shields to Makai Everett. DeAndre Jones actually finishes it off. A little bit more of the Shields, though, on the next clip as he turns defense in the offense and the slamma-jamma with nobody in his way. Cartier Johnson, first time we'll bring up a player for McKean. 3's more valuable than 2's. And how about a flurry of triples? This one from maybe one of the better names in all of Delaware, Omar O'Neal, from straight away and from trifecta range. But Woodbridge, they would still lead by 17 at the end of the first half. Makai Everett to the basket for Neal. Easy finish for Woodbridge. Johnson on the break for the home side, and he proves he's got some verticality as well, trying to pump up the Highlanders. The Shields wide open from the corner, catching it in stride, and it's true for 3. Tayshawn Williams would turn it on in his second half with the dish up high to Hayes, and Williams would finish it off. How about Williams one more time? We already know what kind of athlete he is, just contorting his body with the reverse lay through 2 players. Too easy. Williams one more time. I mean, he's almost dunking the ball on layups. He's that good and that athletic. Cartier Johnson from McKean. He's got a nice stroke from the corner. Good all-around game for him, but would be too much. Woodbridge with the win, 68-51. So who's our shore standout of the night? Presented by Gateway Subaru. Well, we saw a lot of a high-flying Tayshawn Williams from Woodbridge in the second half, and that's why he is our shore standout. I feel like every time he got the ball in his hands during our highlights, he was putting up straight buckets, charging the hoop, showing that he could get it done past defenders and even when they were all around him on that clip. Woodbridge, they have really excited about this guy this season, and congrats on being our shore standout of the night. Part 1 down and plenty more coming your way on the final score, including the sweetest plays from across Delmarva. Might see a little Williams during that. A lot of hoops. We'll take our top spots on our list later in the show. Plus, we hand out a Coach Who Makes a Difference award to a man who's translated his skills from the lake to the links. And we head back to more highlights. But with girls hoops, we'll see how Woodbridge does against McKean, same matchup, and Sussex Academy takes on Georgetown rival Sussex Tech. We'll have all that and more, but first, how about we slide it over to Chief Meteorologist Mike Lichniak.
It was another nice day. We had some extra clouds around as a reinforcing shot of cooler air moved in this afternoon into the evening hours, setting us up for the first wintry weather of the season. We'll map out your Friday when we return.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Welcome back to our Wawa Studios. Ian Nicholas with you. We're in December now, so it kind of feels like it should be getting colder, finally starting to get that way. In my first year here out on Delmarva, the weather is crazy, but you know who knows this weather better than anybody? Our chief meteorologist, Mike Lichniak, with your game day forecast.
Hi there, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. We've got some wintry weather on the way as we wrap up the work week. We will be dealing with some light snow across the area during the mid to late morning hours into the early afternoon. Could cause some delays. Wouldn't shock me if we had cancellations, but I think for the most part, we'll get through the day. Into the evening hours, we dry things out. The wind picks up behind the storm to help us dry out before anything refreezes, so we shouldn't have too many icy spots on the roadways. As noticed, temperatures will be much warmer Saturday morning, even compared to Friday morning, where most of us overnight fall back into the 20s. We'll start the climb back into the mid-40s for highs on Saturday and Sunday, and granted, yeah, that's still well below average for this time of year. So let's plan it out on Futurecast. Snow begins to arrive, should start to fall around here during the morning commute. The snow at times in the late morning hours will be moderate to heavy. And then we'll watch this rain snow line try to meander its way inland across the region. Our in-house model now tries to dry us out by the time we get into the early afternoon hours, but the majority of the computer guidance brings this in a little bit later, between the hours of, let's say, 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and gets it out of here between 4 and 6 p.m. That'll be the window. And one thing that we have to watch with this storm as it begins to arrive is, what does the wind begin to do? So for the most part, this storm, it's a northeast wind. So this would lock the cold air in place. The only issue is that the model has been hinting that the wind will try to turn more east to southeast and push in some warmer air, maybe even reaching places like Georgetown, Laurel, Seaford, Delmar, Salisbury. That's as far west as the rain snow line gets with this storm. So that's something that we'll have to pay attention to as we work our way into Friday. At most, we're thinking a dusting to an inch of snow across much of the area. There could be some locally heavier amounts, especially out towards the midshore, where we pick up on 1 to maybe as much as 2 inches of snow. We'll dry things out for the weekend, warm things up. We're back into the mid-40s, and then another shot of colder air comes in as we start the work week off. Highs only Monday in the 30s.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
We're back on the final score. Ian Nicholas alongside you. I promise you what I'm about to show you is not deja vu. It's just the same matchup, McKean and Woodbridge, from the men to the women, from the boys to the girls. And it's a season opener as well for the Blue Raiders as they host McKean on their home court. We start in the first. Woodbridge on the board thanks to Tomia Bailey dishing it to the cutting Crystal Carnero with the deuce, 2-0, but the Highlanders respond on the next possession. Lauren Moore gets the assist to Yelani Davila, and she'll tie it up. After some back and forth good defense, Moore goes coast to coast and finds Jalen Edwards. And Edwards makes the lay-in, and it's 4-2. They tie it up. Fletcher swinging it to Jada Plummer, drilling from long range, 7-4 in the first. Woodbridge up 5 here. At the end of the quarter, Blue Raiders trying to trap. The ball ends up in Plummer's hands, and she goes all the way. Woodbridge up by 7. Highlanders need something, right? And Moore gets it with the board, going up for the lay-in, slashing that deficit to 6 at the end of the half. The Highlanders looking for more. Moore fighting for the rebound. Edwards shoots for triple, cuts that deficit to 5. Woodbridge, that's their lead at the break. Into the second half, and Danielle Fletcher getting it into the post for Plummer. There's another three-pointer. Blue Raiders up by 10. 3 minutes later, Fletcher, triple, fast break pull-up. Looking nice early in the year with the stroke. 25-14 lead. It'd be 10 points for Woodbridge going into the fourth. In the closing stages of the game, well, it was one-sided all the way through. A dominant win for Woodbridge as they win by 17 and improve to 1-0. Sussex Tech and Sussex Academy battling it out in girls hoops as well. Battle of Georgetown, and who would win in a rivalry game to start the regular season? Mariah McCabe for Tech, dodging some Seahawks and throwing it in for 2. That's the first points of this game. Bella Zorn for Sussex Academy tried to get it to Grace Glover, but McCabe with the steal and the score, the hoop and the harm. 4-0 lead for her side. Riley Mobilia of Sussex Academy getting it to Barbara Duarte. That's the first points of the night for the Seahawks. Sussex Tech, they lead 8-2 in the first. In the second quarter, Anaya Bailey getting it in for a deuce. One-sided affair, 14-13. Mobility to Glover, and she'll put it in off the right side of a hoop. It's 18-15 Sussex Tech. How about a little more mobilia, a little more motion in this ocean? Laura Nieto with the score from Tripletown, 18-10 in the second frame. In the third, McCabe to Anaya Bailey. It's rain in triples, 24-10 our score, and continuing to be an onslaught. How about 26-10? McCabe with the lay-in. And of a fourth frame, McCabe doing some facilitating to Tyasia Murray. The outlet fee, that was pretty. 21-point lead, 33-12. McCabe again igniting transition, takes it herself, 39-12. 12 points in a whole game. Tech with the win. Let's recap some of the other action we haven't gotten to, brought to you by Spicer Bros. In Easton, Saints Peter and Paul on the girls' side fell to Indian Creek by over 20. The Sabres, they dropped to 1-1 on the season. They play their third game this week, tomorrow, when they host the Tome School. In Georgetown, Delmarva Christian Girls Hoops battled Odyssey Charter, and it was the Owls, 37-27. Anastasia Thomas had a game-high 20 points, also stuffed the stat sheet, 7 boards, 5 dimes, 3 steals, and a block. We're almost done here, folks. No more Owl impressions down the way, I promise. But what do we have for you? Well, we've got a trip to the Athlete Academy in Berlin, where we find out why a Worcester Prep Mallard, yeah, like the duck, she's a menace on the lacrosse field and in the gym. We'll be right back after the break. Today's Superstar of Tomorrow, presented by Bass by Spicer Bros. Riker from Hartley loves baseball. He's been playing it since he was 3 at Dover Little League, and when he's not on the field, he's at home practicing. Loves going to watch the Phils play. In between spring ball and fall ball, you can find Riker staying active and playing flag football. Keep up the great work, Riker. A lot of sports, but what about basketball season? It's back, folks. That means tournaments are back. And on Saturday, we had the Bayside Basketball Peak Tip-Off Tourney. As our Bayside teams get ready for the regular season, they have a chance to compete at Chesapeake City College. So in the morning at 10 and 11:30, there are going to be JV games, but the rest of the day will be streamed on DSM+. At 1, North Caroline and James M. Bennett. Then at 2:30, Easton against Butch Waller and Y-High. At 4 p.m., Jazier Dickerson and Colonel Richardson against Snow Hill. And at 6, it's Cambridge, South Dorchester, and Pocomoke. The nightcap at 7:30 is Kent Island and Parkside. And you catch all this action Saturday at 1 on DSM+. Make sure you subscribe today and you won't miss any action for the Bayside to start this year. Now I'll bring us right into our megaphone poll question of the week. So we decided to ask you Delmarvans, is that a phrase? Probably not. What Bayside team are you rooting for in the tournament? A quick disclaimer, all these teams featured in this poll, their games on Saturday that are on DSM+. So that's why you gotta subscribe. With that caveat out of the way, let's take a look at the votes. 2 days to go, a lot of names here. Colonel Richardson, the heavy favorite at nearly 40%, and Kent Island, a distant second at 14%. A lot of teams here, a lot of fans that we can get impacting the results, and you have plenty of time to vote. All you have to do before Saturday, go to delmarvasportsnetwork.com. From there, you'll find the Vote tab on your screen. Then just click Vote. I know, simple, right? And from there, on the poll, you can make your selection. There are a ton of great teams to choose from. Seems like the Colonel Richardson faithful knows their team is pretty elite. Comment on our website and our social media pages. Let us know what teams you're rooting for on Saturday. We go from this Saturday's tournament to the biggest basketball tourney of the year. It's day 4 of our 25 Days of Gov Challenge, folks, and What do we have for you today? How about a poster? Wasatch Academy took on Archbishop Wood, and well, you got to see it to believe it. Adolph Junior County on the break. Ooh, oh no. These kids make it look easy in Gov Challenge, and that's why you got to tune in from the 26th to the 30th of December. Ooh, get out of the way, a number 15. Those are some future stars. And with the winter sports being here, we have to let you know how excited we are to begin our coverage of all of our local teams who are beginning their journey to a division, conference, region, and eventually state titles at the end of the year. But we can't begin the new season without recapping what took place last year. And well, we have our 2024 basketball recap special airing live on DSN. Here's a sneak peek into what to expect next week. If you're not a basketball fan, don't worry. We know there are other winter sports that exist. And for our wrestling aficionados, we have our 2024 recap special coming soon. Here's what you can expect from that ahead of the upcoming wrestling season. Fun fact, I wrestled for 3 weeks in middle school and quit. Mad respect to those kids. Let's get off the mat and into the gym. Worcester Prep 8th grader Tenley Absher trains at 3 different sports. Lacrosse is her top priority. I caught up with Tenley mid-workout, sponsored by the Athlete Academy.
Tenley, she's really attacked the weight room, and I think she's finding a lot more confidence in herself and her abilities just from seeing that growth in here.
I definitely feel like I have a lot more confidence. It was like during this past summer, I was in a lacrosse game and I realized, wow, I just got to that ball really quickly. Just got to remember that this is a place where I need to focus and actually work out and get things done for me to improve in all my sports.
8th grader Tenley Absher has improved plenty over the last year at the Athlete Academy, reaching new heights thanks to not only her own mindset, but the mindset of those around her.
There's always people that are just cheering you on and telling you you got this, keep going and pushing yourself to the limit, and that definitely helps a lot. Cause I feel for me to really push myself to my best self, I need people cheering me on and helping me out every time. It's great. I love just coming here and seeing familiar faces. I just know I'm gonna have a really fun time.
There's no face more familiar to Tenley than that of her younger sister and Worcester Prep classmate, Sadie.
Those two, it's hilarious when I get them in here. They're like, don't put me on the same rack as her. I don't want to be on the same rack as her. But that's because they hold each other accountable. And sometimes it can be a little hard being held accountable by your sister, right? Siblings, it's just a little bit of a different relationship, pushing each other, making sure they're doing all their sets and reps and things like that. And everyone has their moments of weakness. But when they might have a moment of weakness, they call each other out on it. And you can hear it from down the other end of the weight room, you know what I mean?
Now, I'm sure that the Abshers will be heard at the Athlete Academy for the foreseeable future. Reporting from Berlin, Ian Nicholas, DSN.
From the athletes to the coaches, this month's Coach Who Makes a Difference Award is sponsored by Preston Automotive, and our coach resides in Lewis, where our own Tyler Aiken tells his story of our latest honoree.
For 28 years, Coach Bill Geppert was known as the leader of the Cape Henlopen swim teams, a pretty successful leader at that. The Vikings boys and girls squads each cruised to Henlopen Conference titles last winter. But the spring brought about something different for Geppert, the head coaching position for the golf team.
We set some different standards this year, which were a little bit tougher at first, but I think that in the end they really paid big dividends.
The biggest dividend?
Winning the conference. For the first time in 20-some years, we won the conference. And that was, it felt as like I did when I first won the conference in swimming.
Similar results came from similar values.
So for me, the concept of team, we spent a lot of time doing things together. I think the van rides to and from the golf courses were important. We really wanted them to understand that it's a team sport, just like swimming. Even it's an individual thing, but you're participating on a team and every score matters. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway for me.
Teamwork isn't the only similarity between swimming and golfing. Everyone,
at any time, you can lose your job. And I think I told them, I used a line from the kids in my class. I told them, some other athletes, I said, my job as a coach is to replace you. Your job as a player is to do the right things, not to get replaced. And it made a huge dividend for them. I mean, the kids took on that role. It was competitive in a good way. It was not, a dog-eat-dog kind of thing. It was they worked to get better, and it obviously has paid dividends. So we're looking forward to a great year this year.
So in honor of last year's success and the year ahead, DSN and Preston Automotive are happy to name Bill Geppert as this month's Coach Who Makes a Difference. Reporting from Lewis, Delaware, I'm Tyler Aiken, DSN.
What's up? Ian Nicholas ready to close up shop tonight like we always do with our sweetest plays from across Delmarva, brought to you by How Sweet It Is. At number 3, we start with one of our 2 Woodbridge McKean games. On the girls' side of things, a triple for Jada Plummer. Nothing that needs to be fixed with the leaky pipes because it's straight cash from deep for Plummer in the win. At number 2, Sussex Academy. Well, they tried to run offense. It wasn't very successful tonight against Sussex Tech. Mariah McCabe with the steal in the score. She was all over the court tonight for the Ravens, who pick up the rivalry win, like a defensive back in football with the breakup, and then it just becomes a fumble that she picks up and scores. Our sweetest play of the night, we return to the Woodbridge McKean tangos of the game. Tangos of the day. This was the play of the game. Malachi Hayes back to Tashawn Williams, our sure standout of the night. The high flyer with a little give and go. This is going to be a fun team this season. Sadly, we're all out of time. Thank you so much for joining us as always. Remember, for all your local sports coverage, make sure to follow us at Delmarva Sports across our social platforms. Huge thank you to all our sponsors for making the final score possible, and for our guys in the control room, Manny Christian and Luke Greco. Ian Nicholas logging off for now. Have a great night, DSN land.